Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that would quite often either use certain kind of crutches linguistically. So it would be phrases like, what's the word? And they might say that 3 or 4 times before the right word comes up. So it's similar to a stammer or a stutter, but it would be different coping strategies. And that would be a linguistic coping strategy. So what you're really going to hear in this hypnosis session is a few things. One, they felt very comfortable talking to certain people like their son. So using that as a resource state to anchor, almost like feel like it's charging up a power bank of resourcefulness that they can then deploy in a situation where they weren't feeling quite so confident. And to use that coping strategy of that phrase, what's the word, as inner dialogue. So they're pausing as far as the outside world can see, using that phrase internally, and then when the word comes, then they start talking. And that means that they're following almost an identical internal strategy, but doing so in a way that gives them this confidence of a pause. And those people that communicate and use pauses confidently come across as very confident communicators, because most people feel awkward or uncomfortable about silence. They have to fill every space. But think of the great, let's say, people that delivered speeches, like Nelson Mandela, for example, was a great, let's say, orator, but he would use pauses quite often as part of his speeches. And lots of great presenters will use silence and pauses to immense effect. So rather than looking at filler words, a lot of people will use words like basically or thinking noises like ums and ahs. And I do it a bit. It's a natural way of talking. But you can have pauses and silences as a way of allowing you to find the right word before saying the right word. So there's an element of anchoring resource states, having internal strategies, but also using things like movement. And they found that it was easier for them to communicate while they were moving the body. But the problem is that when they were stationary and sitting down, they wouldn't feel that they could do that because they couldn't pace. But they can move their feet or their fingers or their hands, and that can be a way to release certain words. The final element of this, outside of future pacing, is this element of considering things as low stakes. And here's the thing, most people feel a lack of anxiety when they are in a low stakes environment. So if it feels like nothing, it doesn't really mean anything, most people feel fairly confident. When the stakes get raised, then there is this feeling that the pressure gets on, this element, this idea of choking in sports psychology of, succumbing to the pressure, is a feeling of it's a high stakes environment. So there's an element here that also frames things as low stakes environments that, depending on how you really think about things, everything can be a low stakes environment. And when you frame it that way, you tend to feel more relaxed and more comfortable. So if you have in the past felt uncomfortable or lacking confidence when communicating, you might get some value from this, but please be aware it was created for a client with a very specific form of a stammer, and therefore not all of the suggestions are going to make sense for you. If you like the idea of working with me directly, check out my website, adamcox.co.uk, and there's a link on there where you can book the free 30-minute consultation call on Zoom. You can also find that in the show notes. If you just click more details in the podcast, you should be able to see a link there. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just feel a wonderful release, particularly around your eyelids. And just notice that with your eyes closed, you're able to focus inward, to hear more of my words, and to allow these words to be a catalyst for wonderful, positive changes. So as you breathe in, scan your whole body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, as you start to scan for tension, stresses and worries, so that when you exhale, just feel this tension melting away and leaving your body in that outward breath. That's it. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the even deeper you breathe. So really settle in to where you're sitting right now. Feel the weight of your legs and arms. Notice the rate of your breathing. And if you really concentrate, maybe you can even identify the feeling of a heartbeat, a pulse, in just one of your fingers. The more you notice these physical sensations, like your chest rising and falling, the more it's possible for tension to be released. Perhaps tension around the jaw, the neck, or your shoulders. Just allow it to be released now. So feel the natural rhythm of your breathing, the way the air flows in and out effortlessly. Notice that you can recalibrate into that place of relaxation and comfort, so that with each breath you allow your body to relax just a little bit more, releasing any tension from your shoulders, your neck, your arms, all the way down to your toes. And as your body relaxes, so does your mind. as you realize that you can let thoughts drift by, like clouds in the sky or leaves falling off a tree in autumn, knowing that there's no need to hold on to anything right now. Simply follow the sound of my voice as you begin to sink into a deeper, more peaceful state of relaxation. That's it. I want you to imagine what it would feel like to be floating on water that is so dense it just supports your weight. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each descending number, just feel that this water is supporting you, but that there are qualities in the water that melts away tension. Perhaps minerals, perhaps the heat of the water. 10, just relaxing now, releasing that tension. 9, maybe there's a current floating, taking you somewhere in your imagination. 8, feeling more of that release. And 7, noticing your inner thoughts quieten. 7 goes to 6 and your jaw completely relaxes. 5, the water cradling you, holding you, supporting you. 4, drifting deeper and deeper relaxed. 3, so deeply relaxed. 2 and 1. Imagine the water has carried you to somewhere where you feel completely at ease, safe, and open to positive transformation. So now, in this relaxed state, I want you to imagine a time when you are having a conversation with someone you felt relaxed with, maybe your son or someone else. But picture their face, hear their voice, and just notice how comfortable and at ease you feel. This is a low-stakes conversation. No big deal. In this moment, you are confident, relaxed, and fully yourself. And notice how words flow naturally. And even when you pause to think, it feels completely normal, completely natural. If you make a mistake with a word or a thought, you just restate it, rephrase it, find a different way of saying it. And you notice they are engaged and patient. And this feeling of ease is your natural state. It's the way you like to communicate. So at the point where you feel the words are flowing and you feel comfortable, just create an anchor. Maybe squeeze a thumb and a finger together on your left hand. Do that now as you feel that this feeling of feeling comfortable, you're now creating a trigger you can charge up and a trigger you can deploy. We can think of this like a power bank, the kind of power bank you might use to charge your phone in an emergency. When you're feeling comfortable and confident communicating, Squeeze your finger and feel like you're charging this power bank up. And when you're in a situation that feels outside of your comfort zone, use the same trigger. Start using up all of that resources you've been charging to feel resourceful and comfortable and confident, even if you're in a situation with a group of many people you don't know. So allow that ease and confidence to become an anchor within you, a resource that you can access anytime you speak to others. And maybe now you can imagine taking that same feeling and extending it, bridging it across to conversations with anyone, even groups of people, or those that you've just met, and feel how this confidence feels in your body. And maybe it's a warmth in your chest, a feeling of fluidity and flexibility, a connection, a steadiness in your breathing, or a calm clarity in your mind. And just allow that sensation to grow stronger, as if it's spreading through every part of you, making you feel more capable and grounded with each moment. And perhaps you could imagine yourself in a future situation where you're speaking to a group or someone new. And if a word doesn't immediately come to mind, give yourself permission to simply pause, and you own that pause, feeling calm and composed. And you might think to yourself, what's the word or what's it called, in your inner dialogue, but outwardly you remain poised. Feel comfortable using the crutch inwardly and feeling comfortable with the silence externally. And when the word comes, say it. Treat this as just one tool in the toolbox, and maybe variety is another tool. Occasionally you might change your words and say, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm drawing a blank here. It's escaping me right now. And you notice how natural and easy it feels to use these phrases. It's perfectly okay to pause, to think, to take your time. Sometimes you can pause and use the rhythm of hand gestures or a tapping foot to also release a blocked word, as you start to feel you have so many tools in your toolkit. Silence will become your ally, a space where your thoughts can settle and the right words can surface. You trust your mind to find the words when it's ready. There's no rush, no pressure, because you know that most situations are just low stakes. That in the grand scheme of life, these conversations or even big speeches are just no big deal. And with this realization, any anticipatory fear seems to dissolve or just melt away. That you can feel calm, capable, and at ease. Because you can make an evaluation that you'll handle it and you'll be fine. And even if something happens, you'll still be fine. In the big scheme of things, no big deal. So now, just imagine a scene where you're speaking to a group of people. Perhaps it's a casual meeting, or maybe a big presentation. See yourself standing or sitting comfortably. And when you notice that you're looking comfortable, step into that version of you. Notice how you feel, steady, grounded, and confident. Notice that you're speaking naturally, pausing when you need to, and if a word escapes you, you calmly say, "I'm drawing a blank. Give me a moment." And notice, with these words, with these pauses, the audience becomes more engaged, more patient, even more responsive, as you feel that you're in complete control, owning your pauses, owning your gestures, your rhythms, your movements, and the flow of your words. Small movements and gestures, taps, movements of your feet or your toes can be like a conductor of an orchestra. Just one movement is all it takes for the right word to suddenly arrive. And every time you speak to someone new or in a group, don't be surprised if you find yourself tapping into this same confidence and ease that you feel with your son. And maybe you just imagine that your son is in the same room with whoever you're talking to. A room full of strangers, and your son is there somewhere in the room, becoming a bridge to feel resourceful when you normally wouldn't, because this resource is always within you, ready to support you in any situation. Pauses become your friend, and you own them completely. Notice that the more you trust yourself to find the right words, the more true that becomes. Knowing that communication is about connection, not perfection. If your unconscious feels it has more options, that future events have become more manageable and more low stakes, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And with that in mind, it's time to return to the present, taking all of these thoughts, strategies, and resources with you. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, but first take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, start to calibrate into the here and now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8. Open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10. Wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.